Longtime friend, Wayne Felton. An iconic Staten Islander. It's right here on the cover of this. I got it all in my little shopping mall. So give it up one more time for Dow.
I'm certainly honored that Kevin, well, certainly proud of Kevin for taking the time and putting the energy to put together his a book of his life experiences, and going from his beginning with the beginning of the ferry boat with the shopping cart till the ending, his troubles that he went through, and of course Kevin is the storyteller, I guess.
Real.
Okay. So Kevin asked me to kind of lead you, the audience, and him through a couple of pieces in his book, which chapter by chapter is not only tells his story, but in many respects tells a story of the history of events and things on Staten Island going through the kind of tell us a little bit about how you started.
One time I had a van and I was, myself and my sister Robin was sitting around thinking about ways that we could make extra money. So we wound up at the wholesale place in Brooklyn and had candy. We were selling candy out of the van. And it was going pretty good. Then my other sister got involved, and this is back in the 70s, and we started a candy store in our apartment. That was going really nice, that candy store in the apartment, but the landlord didn't think too much of it, and that kind of ended right there. But there's some people in Park Hill that still remember the apartment candy store. That was in 1K 185 Park Hill Avenue. That's an iconic.
I know we read in chapter 2 in your book when you kind of began selling stuff out of a shopping cart. And tell us how that came about.
Well, it's real simple. I was unemployed and annoyed, and I had to do something to fill the void. So I got smart and I bought a shopping cart. And the rest, as they say, is history. But it was once, it was a morning in the late August of 1983. I woke up, I had a few dollars in my pocket, I had mouths to feed, and I had to figure out a way to make some money. So I went to the wholesale place and bought some New York City t-shirts and got on a ferry boat from Manhattan with the t-shirts. And by the time I got to the other side of to Staten Island, the t-shirts were gone. I said, hey, this is pretty nice. Maybe I can continue to do this. So I started selling the t-shirts and on a regular basis on the ferry, $3 a piece. New York City t-shirts, the price don't hurt. $3 a piece, get one for your nephew, cousin, and niece. And so I took the t-shirts, that was going pretty good. At a certain point though, the summer was over, and now I had to figure out what to sell to continue to make money. So the idea came to me, well, sweatshirts, because now it's getting cooler. Then hats and gloves and scarves, umbrellas when it rains. But the only problem now is that I had this bag, and the bag was getting heavy, and it was unorganized. And what could I do now to manage all of this merchandise and still be able to deliver to the people? So that's when I came up with the idea of the shopping cart. And it seemed like people didn't notice me rhyming on the ferry until I came with the shopping cart, and I came up with the iconic phrase, I got it all in my little shopping mall. The service is sweet. I come right to your seat. Step up and place your order. It's like Macy's on the water. Yes. Best thing on this side of the border. Good for your son and your daughter. I got it all in my little shopping mall. I got everything for the spring. Do I really have to say?
The only person on the boat that was selling anything or merchandising anything was the shoes. What were you selling when you started out?
Oh, like I said, I started with the t-shirts, but then what I would do is I would listen to my clientele. If they said they needed something, then I would take that item and put it in my shopping cart. Somebody would say, listen, do you have any sweatshirts? I don't have it, but I'll get it. Do you have umbrella? No, I don't have it, but I'll get it. And then so as people ask for things, you add it to your collection, and that's how you continue to make money.
Now, one section of the book you kind of put a little collection of the little poems that you used to sell people needed batteries. What was your little take to sell the batteries?
Batteries, headphones, Walkmans, microphones. I got everything you need for the perfect tone with the power of a cyclone. Fix it like new, I got crazy glue. Never fails on your nails, works on your shoe. I got it all in my little shopping mall.
And then when in the winter time, when you had hats and gloves and scarves to sell, you had a different saying, you had a different poem for that.
Got everything you need so you won't sneeze, freeze, or catch a disease.
running into some problems selling on the boat with the authorities. Tell us what was the initial confrontation.
Well, in 1984, for the first time I had been recognized by the media. A lady named Marguerite Turner wrote an article about me in the Staten Island Paris. And you know, at that time I'm young and my head got puffed up and you couldn't tell me nothing. I was a media star. And I mean, it's just a matter of time before I get this permit to sell my merchandise. After all, they writing about me in the paper. But you know what the city said? We're gonna cuff you and take your merchandise, boy. So that's what they did. They cuffed me and they took my merchandise. And I was really, really upset because it was like, wait a minute. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not selling drugs. I'm not robbing anybody. I'm not doing any of the stereotypical stuff that they want to blame on young men. I'm out here doing the right thing, making an honest dollar, and they cuffing me and taking my merchandise? I said, this is not right, and I'm gonna fight. And you know, I tell you, at this point, it's really good. This is when my faith started to develop. I'm a strong believer in Jesus Christ, and my faith really started to develop during these battles. And I leaned on the Lord, who carried me a long way. I mean, carried me all the way to where I'm sitting right now. I mean, Jesus is my source, my answer in life, of course.
So that was kind of your initial confrontation with the authorities and law enforcement. But in spite of that, you moved forward and you found a big source of interest from the growing number of tourists that were riding in the ferry boat. What was your interaction with them? They talk about that at the Boston Tea Party.
Boston Tea Party. Well, you know, during 1986, it was a big year for T-shirts. Stapleton Library had the anniversary, 100th anniversary. And, you know, I would be on the boat selling the T-shirts, and the cops they would try to stop me from time to time. But I would always talk to the tourists, and I was sort of like a tour guide. I would point out significant landmarks to them. And so one day a cop came to me and says, listen, you can't sell shirts on the boat. I said, okay, officer, no problem. So I put the shirts away, and I continued talking to the people, showing them the landmarks, telling jokes, and all that. So he comes back and says, I thought I said you couldn't sell anything, you couldn't sell T-shirts on the boat. I said, officer, I'm just talking, and last time I remember, freedom of speech is part of the Constitution. He says, listen, we're going to confiscate your merchandise. So I just took the shopping cart. I was so angry, just threw it right into the water with the T-shirts and everything. And I called that the Boston Tea Party. You know, so of course I got arrested. And once they released me, on my way home, I bought another shopping cart and got started the next day.
But the conflicts seem to continue. We moved on to chapter 5. City Hall plays hardball. What happened next?
City Hall played real hardball in 1987. I remember it was a little bit before Christmas, and I got jammed up on the Manhattan side of the ferry. I got locked up. And I was in the system for like 3 days. You know, and there were people in the system that knew me, that were working. Said, "What are you doing in here? Like, we know you from the ferry." The guy said, "Let me take some paper and shuffle it and get you up a little quicker." So I got out a little quicker because I knew some people, but it was still wrong what they had done. It was like I felt like I was a hostage. You know, I was in the system for like three to 4 days, and for what? For selling merchandise. But I know that the people people on Staten Island, they were going crazy. They were writing all kind of letters and making all kind of phone calls trying to find out where I was and what was going on. But, listen, this is just one of the hard things that they wanted to show. This was Mayor Koch, basically, was the one that started cracking down on vendors, that if you're caught selling anything downtown Manhattan without a license, that we're going to run you through the system. Like a hardened criminal. Once again, just making an honest dollar. That's all I was doing.
Yes, Kevin, those years, 84, I guess from the newspaper article on, okay. Those days continue to be a rough period for you. And then suddenly, we're moving to chapter 7. You're in the 19, you name it, the nasty 90s.
The nasty 90s,
So, the nasty 90s, you were confronted with a police officer who got fairly aggressive and paid a lot of attention to you. Officer Godfredo.
Officer Godfredo. He was a bully. You know, he wanted to try to intimidate you, shake you down, look at you like give you tough looks and all this kind of stuff. And the bottom line, I simply wasn't scared of him, And so one time, I'm standing, in the ferry terminal, and he says, "Well, I want you to go to the police room." So I go to the police room. He says, "Well, what's the problem?" "Well, you're selling merchandise and you don't have no permit." The same old story. "But you know something? You need to get out of here." So I'm thinking he's telling me I need to just get up and walk out. So I'm getting up to walk out. He pushes me up against the wall hard. So then I'm like, what do you say? You said I should get out. Now you're pushing me up against the wall. But this guy, man, he was a total clown, and but I just kept on persisting in spite of the pushback that I was getting from them.
What happened when you did apply for a permit?
Oh, that's a joke. I applied for a permit, and they gave me an application because what happened in 1987, due to the publicity in the newspaper, they were starting to say, "Listen, we better try to do something here to appease the public." So they gave me an application to file for a permit. So I filled out the application, and to make a long story short, they said that my application was rejected because I have an arrest record. Well, what was the arrest record for? Well, you can't sell merchandise on the ferry because you were arrested for selling merchandise on the ferry. So that's what the excuse was in 1987. So it got to the point where I just said, you know something, I'm going to do what I have to do. I don't care what these people say. I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm doing the right thing. I'm providing for my children and for my family, and I'm going to do the right thing. So I insisted. I kept on moving.
And the 90s got very, very interesting for it. A decade got involved in confronting you.
I would like to read something. First of all, I want to say the story that I'm going to tell about the racist decade. I want everybody to understand that the vast majority of the deckhands that I dealt with were really cool. There was only a few that had bad attitudes, and only a few that I couldn't really get along with. But that's always the case. But I want to read an excerpt from page 70. It says this: "By 1995, I received many acknowledgments for my work on the ferry and throughout the community. The people of McPherson, Kansas labeled me a tourist attraction. TV Japan broadcasted my story nationwide in Japan. My portrait was displayed on the walls of Borough Hall." Thank you, sir. That's Sarah's portrait. "Daniel Pinkwater included me in his book, Chicago Days, Hoboken Nights. 1,400 people signed my petition to become a councilman. Mr. Ambrosino, the principal of 57, honored me as a role model. I became the first chairman of the Staten Island Million Man March Coalition. The Village Voice listed me as a summer attraction, and a racist deckhand continued to call me a nigger." Now, I just want to say, that word to the young people, that word, especially to my young brothers and sisters, be careful with that word. Stay away from that word, because that word historically has always been used to reflect hate. And there's nothing to be glorified in that word. And so you shouldn't use that word, but yeah, I had to deal with that word. So he called me that word, that name, and so I chilled. I said, you know, little shopping malls are class act. I'm not gonna react to this fool. But he kept on doing it. So then it got to a point where I took him by the collar. I said, I'm gonna tell you something, bro. You got one more time to come to me with that word. One more time. So 6 months later, I had just gotten back from the Million Man March, had all my buttons on, talking about the Million Man March. He said, oh, I see you just came from the Million Nigga March. And I clocked him. Clocked him. That was it. I mean, I had enough, and enough was enough. And that's the story of the racist decade. But once again, like I said, the vast majority of the decade, very good. They were customers. As a matter of fact, they would tell you if I was on their boat, they considered me an extra hand on there. If there was a problem of some sort that I could help them with, they know I would help them. But you always have a few. You always have a few that's, you know, not going to be doing the right thing.
Then we moving on, Kevin. Things moving on from the boat. You took on a position with the Million Man March.
The House of Justice. And went to jail for Amadou Diallo. Amadou Diallo, who got shot 41 times. You know, an innocent black man shot 41 times. I went to jail for Sean Bell, who was shot 50 times. And so I made a stand. I used the National Action Network as an outlet because I had a lot of anger. And that anger had to be dealt with in a constructive way. And I want to say to the young people, you might be angry, but take that anger and use it in a constructive way. Don't let it destroy you. Because my anger could have destroyed me. But I used it, and so that's why I got involved with those type of causes. Protesting against police brutality and other injustices that we face.
You know, Kevin, as I said, you know, not part of your book reflects history and events on Staten Island, and famous rap group Wu-Tang, which you had some contact with in Park Hill.
Well, the Wu-Tang Clan, I am like their big brother. Okay, when I was rhyming, when they was in Paris. I mean, that's just a fact. I mean, I'm older than them. I've been around longer. And let me tell you, they used to buy blank cassettes from me, and I'm sure they recorded some of their hits on some of those blank cassettes that they bought from me, and different things like that. In fact, Raekwon's brother, Kay, he had I had a newspaper route on a Sunday morning, and Raekwon's brother used to work with me, and I lived right next door to Raekwon. You know, so you know, and the Wu-Tang Clan definitely was inspired by my appetite for entrepreneurship. You know, and you can see that they were inspired by it. And so yeah, I mean, but I respect them for what they did. And but like I said, I was sort of, in a way, sort of like a role model for them in that community.
Yes, Kevin, and then you also mentioned in your book your interaction with another group that became famous here in Staten Island. That was the Force MDs.
Oh yeah, the Force MDs on the Staten Island Ferry. I mean, these guys are great entertainers. And I mean, they love to work. And the thing about the Force MDs, they used to get thrown off the ferry just like I used to get thrown off, you know. And but they were discovered on the ferry and they made it big. I mean, they were an excellent soul singing group, and they kind of connected hip hop and soul music together. I think they're really much known for that.
Poetry, which you put together. You have a favorite?
Do I have a favorite poem?
Yes, your favorite?
Well, if I had, you know, I don't know if you could call it a favorite, but I mean, I could say the most important poem I ever wrote is "Who is Jesus?"
Say that? Can you?
I'll give you a little bit of it. The King of Kings, the Creator of everything. Jesus is the name I sing. He's a firmly placed foundation, the captain of salvation, the desire of all nations. Jesus is called for great celebration. That's just the beginning of it.
That happens to be the first poem in the
Let me just say one other thing. My poem that's probably the best known, my sister Reverend Kelly wearing a t-shirt, Black Innovations That Built This Nation. That's a poem that it lets people know about some of the contributions that black people have made to this society, to the world, and basically is untaught within the schools. So, the generator, refrigerator, lubricators, and the elevator. The black man is a great creator.
Yes, sir. I would agree with you, Kevin. You are well known for that poem. That is fabulous.
Thank you.
5 minutes, a glorious history lesson in about 5 minutes. So, moving on to the end of your book, Kevin. I know a lot of these events took place in the 80s and 90s. And then we come to 2015, 2017, when you finally got it together to write this book. Tell us a little bit about what happened in those years that finally brought you to putting this book together.
Well, I'll tell you, the main reason why the book was written was because of the pandemic. I mean, everything was shut down. What could you do? And my dear friend Lynn, who's she's a minister, she's the head of the choir at Mount Sinai Church. And so I told her, I said, I'm going to use this time with the pandemic to finish my book. She said, I'll help you. And good thing she did say that, I'll help you, because had it not been for her, this book never would have been written. It just wouldn't happen. I'm not going to go and tell you how funny the story was about when I was typing with one finger.
Please do.
I got this little tablet. I'm working on a book with one finger. And she said, you know how to type? I said, listen, I'm just getting warmed up. I didn't type it long, I'm just getting warmed up. She comes back about a half hour later. She said, you still getting warm? She said, boy, you better go get yourself a laptop. So she got me into what I needed to know as far as the technology to be able to do it and everything else. And her help was superb. The book never would have happened without Lynn Saunders. So thank you, Lynn.
First got the book done, you had it signing at Mount Sinai.
Yes, sir.
Which giving tribute to a number of the people who came together to support you for this book. You want to give a shout out to those people?
I want to give a shout out to all of the people for all of the years that have bought something as simple as an umbrella or some headphones. I want to thank all of them. I want to thank the people that just gave me an encouraging word.
Yeah.
I want to thank all of those people. I want to thank the people that prayed for me. I want to thank, I just want to thank, and everybody that bought a book and everybody that supports me in any way, I just want to thank all of those people because, I mean, there couldn't be any little shopping. Like I used to tell the people that ran the ferry, the ferry is running because of the people, not because of you. So, I mean, if we out here, this is about the people. So, I'm out here to serve the people. So, like I said, it's all about the people, and I'm thankful for those that help.
Don't forget the artwork.
Yeah. But yes, before earlier, I had acknowledged Sarah. Sarah used to please stand up. She's the one that did the artwork. The artwork's going all over the world with this one. And then Ernest Keith, he's not here right now, but he was a big support early before I even got the book going. And Barbara Bevel was editing, and Camilla, Kalima, Harrell, and Willie Chu, the photographer, and also my pastor, Bishop Brown. He wrote the foreword to the book. So I appreciate all of that. That's great, you know.
Yeah, being a member of Mount Sinai myself, Kevin, over the years, it was, you were always the one that, Pastor Brown would go to for some words on a Sunday morning, and or during Black History Month, and I know personally that you got a lot of support from the members and members at Mount Sinai, and so I congratulate you and the supportive members of Mount Sinai for putting this together. So So is there any closing words that you'd like to make before you take some more?
I just want to say once again, I just want to thank everybody for over the years, for what they've done. Because like I said, it's all about the people, and I want to give my thanks and praise first of all to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and I just want to thank everybody, for all of the support, the people that are buying the book right now, and everything else. I just want to thank you so much, and like I said, there's so many people that have done things. You can't even remember everybody that's done something for you. It's amazing how that goes. But I just want to say thank you to all.
Okay. Anybody have any questions to Kevin about the book or how it came to be?
Yes, Nick.
Yeah, I think 2 words come in mind: persistent and consistent. And from the start of your journey, maybe you can explain from the pain that you established, that you said how you needed that pain to push you forward, but you had your faith that brought you to the finish line. So how important is you to recognize your faith in this journey?
It's absolutely critical. I mean, without faith, and let me just say one thing, right? It's good to have faith, but you got to have faith in the right one, and the right one to have faith in is Jesus Christ. So that's where my faith rests, and that's how I move. I trust in Him. Apart from Him, I can do nothing, but with Christ in me, I can do all things.
Thank you, brother.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yes,
Sister.
Mr. Buford.
Yes.
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, what? You mean it's the 24th book of the Bible? What about it?
It doesn't matter what you do when you get up and preach, all right? He tells you what number it is. Somebody call out a book of the Bible.
Oh, now she's going to put me on.
Ask her.
What is that? 17.
He does it, his mind is something else.
Hosea.
14.
Amos.
No, 28. 28.
Amos.
And he'll ask me after I preach, Lord forgive me, the preacher don't know everything. So I preach, and he'll come out the door and say, what number of the book was that? I said, I know, but I won't tell you. That's what he does. And we love him so much.
Thank
On
you.
behalf of our bishop, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Bishop.
Thank you so much.
And I just want to recognize two friends of mine that are here, Pastor Rector, Heritage Baptist Church, and his assistant, Micah. When I was on a radio program, Reverend Kelly, when I was on the radio, these are the gentlemen that I was on the radio with. Yeah, they're the ones that have the program every Sunday.
Come again. Any other questions?
How long did it take you to write the book and go through the phases of it to market?
Well, most of the book had been written like in the mid-90s. I just took out a pen and started handwriting, because I was going through a lot with that whole thing with that deckhand, and I had a hard time working and everything. So I wrote it out by hand and sat around in my house for like 20 years. And then when the pandemic came, that's when we took care of it. Me and Lynn took care of business with that, That's what we got it done. So, it's a little bit at a time,
How long?
What'd you say, Lynn, about a year? When we put it together? Yeah.
What's the funniest part of your book?
Not the jokes.
Who said not the joke? My jokes do something. But listen, that's my daughter Alexandria. And something? My name is Dow Kevin Buford. But she changed my name to Arthur Tyrone Mitchell. So people say, well, why did she change her name to Arthur Tyrone Mitchell? Why would she do that? I says, because that stands for ATM. And she doesn't make any deposits either. But my jokes are terrible. But go ahead.
Yeah, just wanted to say, this is something that all young people need to read. to learn about perseverance. You know, how you persevered through the 80s and 90s and stuff, just continuously. You never gave up. And that is something that needs to be definitely learned nowadays.
Thank you,
know,
Brother
to
Grant.
just
Thank you.
stand with you, stand strong in what you believe in.
Thank you.
Yeah, being able to write about it is good, and being able to write about it after it happens is also good, Greg, because I don't remember what I did 5 years ago at all. So you know, one nice, as I said before, one very entertaining thing about Kevin's book is that he mentioned so many people in his book that he mentioned Rance Huff, who had Staten Island black newspaper, you know, ran it for a while, did very well. Camus, who's that? Emily Camus from Park Hill. Natalie Camus from Park Hill. David Walker Foundation from Park Hill that had something going on there.
Don't forget Debbie Rose, the first black elected official on Staten Island. And I played a big role in her election.
Lots in it from David Rose. He talks about the Giuliani years a little bit. A few people that ran for office. Anybody else have any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, congratulations.
Thank you,
And,
Pastor.
It's a beautiful time here to be with you and your friends. Just had a question about your poetry. Do the rhymes come more spontaneous to you, or does it just kind of flow from you, or do you get it in a dream while you're asleep, or how do you get these rhymes? Do you struggle over the words to get to rhyme? And help us to know how to better rhyme better.
Well, what you said, all of that is true. I mean, it comes all kinds of ways. I mean, sometimes when you sleep, sometimes when you're awake, and sometimes it's hard, and sometimes it just comes easy. So, but I mean, I know, it's just my trust and faith in the Lord. That's the way I just stay rested, and He gives me the words, you know.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I just want to thank you for being here, Sir Dow, Kevin Buford, you know, and sharing your experience, you know. You know, I just have to acknowledge the empathy that I have for you with the endurance and the battle and the challenges and the heartaches and the struggles that you've had with the legal system. You know, and I know it's not about me right now, but I do have a general vendor's license, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you've heard of Alpha, you know? Alpha.
Yeah,
So I struggled with Alpha for many years when I was doing vending, right? And I've had 19 summonses.
That's all?
And with those 19 summonses, right? You know, I beat all the cases.
Oh, okay.
So I'm proud of that, you know?
Well, that's good. Yeah.
But I empathize with what you say, because I've had to pull racks down on Park Slope from one street to the other, you know? So I have to give it to you. One question here, did you ever have to, was there ever any contention between not between you and the shoeshine man, but as an example that he didn't have a license either?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that was one of my strongest arguments. It's like, well, I mean, the shoeshine man has a permit to shine shoes. Nothing wrong with that. Why can't you give me a permit to sell batteries? Shine it, you know? Why can't you give me a permit to sell batteries? Shoeshine, you know, that was one of my arguments, you know, and I was looking, I'm saying there might be a difference in our complexion, so maybe that's the reason why, you know, shoeshine man, you let him slide, but you won't let me, you know? But, you know, I wrote a poem, it's a real short poem called The Street Vendor. And it goes like this: the street vendor is not a legal offender. He's a working man with dreams and plans. He wants to provide a service, but some people want to make him nervous. They want to take his merchandise away. In free enterprise, he has no play. He doesn't want to rob, he doesn't want a job, he just wants peace. To any working man, we owe that at least.
Amen.
The last part of the book where he has his poems, and I touched on one that was, just really touched my heart. It's on page 232, Harriet the Mighty Chariot. Would you like to go through that?
I'll read part of it, yeah. I'll give a little bit of it. Let's see. Okay. Our mother, our big sister, more courage than any mister. A glaring example of God's grace and love. Harriet Tubman, a gift from above. Through the wilderness and through the woods, you took tremendous risks and it was for our good. You went back again and again, so courageous you make my head spin. Mission after mission, a superwoman fishing.